Hello, my name is Tatiana Piche, and I am here to present my research findings under the guidance of Dr. Kelly Dixon, my faculty advisor in the Baylor University LOC program. I present an overview of my problem of practice dissertation, To the Point, a narrative inquiry study understanding studio teacher experiences using culturally relevant pedagogy when teaching classical ballet. In this presentation, I will cover the problem statement as situated in the literature, purpose statement, research questions, my theoretical framework, methodology, findings overview, findings connection to the literature, implications and recommendations, my distribution plan, address limitations, and finally closing remarks. The problem afflicting my community of practice guiding my research is the literature underscores Eurocentric aesthetics consistently marginalize dancers from minoritized communities. Despite educators across different learning spheres actively implementing culturally relevant pedagogies to overhaul limiting learning environments, few empirical studies comprehensively assess ballet studio training practices. Studies seldomly robustly explore components of the ballet training process, including the attire and the content, like the repertoire educators use to train young dancers in a culturally relevant manner. Capturing studio instructor stories implementing CRP in a ballet studio setting subsequently enriches the existing literature and narrows the current knowledge gap, demonstrating how to apply theory into practice. The purpose of the study was to explore how studio ballet educators perceive CRP and their strategies to make ballet performance conventions culturally relevant. Through qualitative narrative inquiry design, I thoroughly delved into the stories of 4 LA-based ballet studio instructors. My exploration focused on their role in fostering inclusive ballet training environments for highly diverse emerging ballet dancers through CRP. I endeavored to capture the instructors' experiences and, most importantly, their voices, effectively implementing best practices to contribute meaningfully to the existing literature. As a result, the participants' stories in the field address the following 2 research questions. How do ballet studio teachers perceive using CRP when assessing performance conventions to teach ballet? And how do ballet studio teachers describe strategies for fostering equity within performance conventions through CRP? I used Latin Billings' 1995 theory of culturally relevant pedagogy as a theoretical framework for my study. CRP, as I will refer throughout the presentation, is the lens through which I viewed my research. In her seminal, the author describes 3 integral canons that assist instructors in transforming restrictive learning environments. First, she emphasized the critical role of a teacher's accountability in supporting their students' success. In latter scholarship, she redefines this canon by labeling it as prioritizing student learning, defining it as helping students achieve academically by respecting the myriad ways students learn. Scholars document promoting a student's academic success by establishing a culture of mattering. More specifically, it's about dedicating oneself as an educator to facilitate and incorporate approaches that ensure student success and learning. Second, educators must actively support students in recognizing, understanding, and critiquing social inequity to elevate their critical consciousness. Last, to help foster students' cultural competencies, Latin Billings encourages educators to cultivate learning climates that support a student's cultural integrity, meaning educators should integrate various cultural values and styles to be appreciated and affirmed in the learning space. I engage in a qualitative narrative inquiry design. Few empirical studies explore ballet studio training practices or capture ballet educators' voices in the field. Consequently, I use snowball and criterion-based sampling to gather a specific type of ballet instructor. I solidified a sample of 4 participants possessing a shared phenomena, diverting from replicating elements of traditional ballet training for studio practice. Guided by Clendenin and Colony 2000, Polkenhorn 1995, and Reisman 2007, as well as Saldana 2021 and Bergen 2018, I used narrative and open codes in the study. Subsequently, I developed a dialectical performance. Resembling a ballet plot, I told the sample of 4 studio ballet instructors' core stories through what I call the ballet de acción. Translation, a storied ballet. I take the reader through the participants' character development and unpack settings, like the participants' experiences in the studio as ballet students, on the stage as professional dancers, and transitions to instructional studio positions, creating art for the stage. Before reaching the study's resolution, where I unveil the findings, I highlight the participants' unique work as leaders within the ballet community, pushing the art form forward and each individual's core storyline's climax, what I call the turning point. These experiences help gather more profound understanding of the context influencing the instructor's training approach. More so, I was able to capture the nuances of traditional ballet training and how elements of attire and repertoire potentially hinder emerging dancers from progressing in ballet through thick, rich descriptions, answering my research questions outlining how the teachers perceive using CRP to teach ballet that deviated from traditional ballet training, and how they describe strategies for fostering equity through CRP. I conducted 2 one-hour structured Zoom interviews, and I collected artifacts via one ballet item protocol per participant. I focused on the instructor's attire preferences for ballet class and performances, and repertorial links for their selections as training materials. In the unveiling, I present the findings of how the individual tenets of CRP manifested in a ballet studio practice. First, the solo theme showcased how all 4 instructors assisted their students in acquiring the tools and skills for success in the studio and on stage through the sub-themes attire attainment and movement obtainment. In the section, I illustrate how participants' attire reforms or reforms to kinetic instruction help mitigate barriers preventing a young dancer from achieving artistic success. Within the 2 sub-themes, I highlighted the instructor's attention to the registered demographic, helping them navigate how to select the appropriate attire type and colors that empower their adolescent dancers or challenge the traditional gender training methods. For example, 4 instructors granted their students sense-making resources, like ballet tools to excel, whether provisioning students with functional class wear or costumes. 2 participants illustrated challenging ballet practices that impacted their students' performances. Subsequently, the movement reforms that the 2 instructors incorporated augmented additional insight into the importance of recognizing gender and sex equity, deviating from reproducing heterogendered dance norms. Second, the pas de deux theme demonstrated how 3 instructors encouraged a deeper understanding of ballet stories through critical explorations, under the sub-theme, understanding what stories ballet say. Additionally, I unpack how 3 instructors help dancers express themselves through performance elements, through the sub-theme, understanding how to say it. Throughout the 2 sub-themes, I show how cultivating a space to assess a storied ballet critically fostered a robust understanding of the underlying messages a performing artist communicates through performance elements. I also emphasize how dialectic inquiry help the instructors and emerging dancers grasp the underlying messages critical ballet stories told. For instance, critical explorations of storied ballets assisted instructors in helping their students reimagine how to choreograph in innovative ways. The instructors actively guided their dancers in granting a profound comprehension of historical context, guiding their students as emerging artists to avoid reprising racist tropes or gender caricatures found in the original ballet repertoire. Integrating discourse inquiry into the art learning and art making process sparked valuable discussions and nurtured a dancer's deeper connection to the material. This approach also encouraged dancers to incorporate their knowledge into the art-making experience. Finally, in the pas de trois theme, I unveiled 2 instructors' experiences denoting why they selected the training materials to enhance students' cultural competence. By pulling their repertoire selections out of context or presenting students with various ballet renditions. In this section, I illuminate how presenting students with material depicting artists of many backgrounds cultivated a training space for emerging dancers of diverse backgrounds to envision themselves in the spaces they wish to pursue. Likewise, selections of various ballet companies, dancers, and choreographic renditions produce a cross-cultural student appreciation for ballet, enhancing a student's understanding of pioneering dancers' contributions that challenge a perception of ballet as a monoculture. First, in connection with the literature review, the study's findings highlighted 3 main themes I outlined through 4 sub-themes, highlighting ballet attire and repertoire as crucial elements of ballet training, building on existing studies that explore the niche area of ballet studio training practices. Second, the study's findings encompassed ballet educators' experiences using culturally relevant pedagogy specific to studio training practices, supporting CRP as an invaluable framework that helps instructors reform restrictive training methods, contributing to the ever-growing literature exploring academic, fine arts, performing arts, physical education, and universitary dance sectors that integrate CRP training practices. Third, the ballet instructor's experiences in the field offer resolute strategies that address scholars' call to action, which implore the ballet studio community and its organizations to explore the knowledge they produce that reinforce a homogeneously white status quo when ballet educators do not embrace inclusive or diverse content. The participants' experiences illuminated strategies that indicate culturally relevant teaching methods for instructors aiming to foster a culturally inclusive and supportive environment for training young ballet dancers in a studio practice that narrows the knowledge gap of applying theory into practice. The instructor's narratives presented compelling insights on attire and content encompassing repertoire selections for training aspiring dancers for studio practice. They diverted from rigid methodologies. The participants' interviews and the analysis of their ballet item protocols distinctly captured approaches reflective of various aspects of CRP theory. As a result, the study's findings led to recommendations for 3 key audiences: the ballet studio teaching community, an emphasis on curricular development, and suggestions for future research. First, the instructors in this study embraced our vast student diversity and made thoughtful decisions about attire and repertoire reforms. Additionally, they openly shared their reasons for departing from replicating elements of traditional ballet training, expressing their lingering memories with instructors who upheld exclusionary practices. Therefore, I recommend that ballet instructors consider the diverse demographics of their students to foster an inclusive environment and atmosphere that encourages robust student engagement and participation. In addition, I suggest ballet studio instructors recognize the profound impact of their choices on the lasting memories of their emerging dancers. Second, unlike the instructors' dance education in youth, the methods implemented for their dance students embrace the core principles of CRP. As a result, the instructors' dance students attain an ample opportunity that enhanced their understanding of the art form's history, fostered their artistic expression, while aiding students in refining their physical aptitudes. Therefore, I recommend that instructors and studio staff design ballet curricula to incorporate the principles of CRP. Additionally, I suggest curricular design to help emerging dancers gain a more comprehensive dance education beyond mere kinetic acquisition. Last, the instructors' narratives in the field provided insights that highlighted best practices tailored for adolescents. Hence, key recommendations include more comprehensive explorations to define effective pedagogical practices for studio ballet instruction, to contribute to more extensive literature on informed practices. And I also suggest designing more robust studies, focus on exploring strategies for preparing aspiring dancers for their regular ballet class and for performances. My final recommendation is to include an assessment of ballet training environments tailored to cater to a broader spectrum of youths. This study's findings present informed strategies that prevent ballet studio educators from perpetuating training practices that marginalize underrepresented groups. First, I will ensure that the findings reach a broad audience of ballet teachers by distributing them through widely circulated dance magazines, such as Pointe, Dance Magazine, and Dance Spirit. I'm also committed to creating a consolidated version of this study's findings into ballet teacher training manuals to communicate the best practices in the field. Second, I plan to disseminate my dissertation's findings through academic conferences that appeal to audiences within art education, studio art curriculum, policy, and dance design. I intend to contribute to the discourse on curricular development in dance education and actively engage with leaders in the art, studio, art curriculum, and policy spheres to foster sustainable and inclusive art making and art learning practices. Third, I plan to publish my dissertation in STEAM academic journals, such as Taylor and Francis Journal of Dance Education, and I'm also dedicated to submitting my work to the National Dance Organization Journal of Dance Education to share my findings with the ballet research community. Through these platforms, I plan to continue contributing to the discourse on equitable ballet practices in dance education and ballet research. Before ending this presentation, it is essential to acknowledge the limitations of my study, which include research design and instrumentation, as well as participant sample size. When engaging in a narrative inquiry design, Creswell and Poth recommend collecting the experiences of a particular subject from a few as 1 or 2 participants. However, seminal works like those of Huber and Whalen, 1999, note broader sampling to captivate the voices of marginalized educational experiences, providing a more profound and holistic understanding of a particular type of educational landscape. That said, I desired to understand how ballet instructors taught highly diverse students in one of the most eclectic diverse ballet communities in Los Angeles, California. As a result of snowball sampling and criterion-based sampling, I attained 4 ex-professional ballet dancers who taught a ballet studio practice whose stories in the field stem from one geographical location. Moreover, as a result of the instrumentation, the data I collected was only a brief look at a time or experience that represented a glimpse of the participants' values and beliefs when training adolescent dancers. Likewise, some participants were more robust in their illustrative descriptions than others concerning the ballet item protocol or within their interviews. Consequently, the participants and I worked as co-authors, shaping the research text to reflect experiences that could serve the ballet teaching community best. In closing, I want to thank everyone at the Baylor University LOC program who believed in this topic and for your dedication and continuous support in helping me explore a problem of practice. You helped me become a change agent for my community of practice by bringing much needed attention to best practices for the ballet studio teaching community.